Perhaps one of the most pivotal selection meetings India have had for Test cricket in a while. For the first time since 2011, there's no Ashwin or Kohli to call upon. There's also a new captain to be picked. So what can we expect for India's squad for the Tests in England to start a new World Test Championship cycle? Let's find out with Sanjay Bangar. Mr. Bangar, thank you for your time. Have to start with the captaincy question. Rohit Sharma's gone. It appears as though it's a two-way race. Shubman Gill, Jasprit Bumrah. Which way are you leaning?
See, I mean, Jasprit Bumrah obviously because of his fitness concerns, so will he be able to play all the test matches or all the entire test matches held in this particular cycle? So if that is a question mark, then the yardstick which was taken for Hardik Pandya when Surya Kumar was named the T20 captain, like the reasoning there was that Hardik Pandya has fitness issues, he may not be available, hence we are looking at a player who is guaranteed of a place in the playing 11. That's how Surya was elevated to the T20 captaincy. Now if we equate that thought process with test captaincy as well, on that basis Jasprit may have to miss out. And there I would think that KL Rahul is my candidate for captaincy. Number of reasons for that. He's been a proven test batter. He scored a lot of important runs at the top of the order for India. So he would play all the test matches, and most of his hundreds of big scores have come in overseas test matches. So there is not a question mark on his ability in any conditions for that matter. So, and he's young, he's not that old as well. So when you're looking at a WTC cycle, it's a 2-year cycle. I think Rahul at the moment is 31, 32. He can clearly play the entire cycle. So hence, I think because of all those points, I believe KL is a really good candidate for the selection committee to consider.
What it could do for him is it'll help him have a fixed batting position for a change. But a lot of the word that seems to be coming out is that since India now are without Kohli, without Rohit, they want to entrust a younger captain who could be in charge for a longer term future. Does that tip the scales in Gill's favour, especially if you're comparing Gill and KL Rahul?
I think in Indian cricket, there is nothing called long term. So you would be mistaken if you are thinking really long term. So long term is what, 2 years? Shubman Gill on that parameter, he is quite young, 24, 25. But he's got loads of cricket ahead of him. And he would also have to, attain that self-belief in his ability by doing well overseas. So that is a challenge for him to be doing that on a consistent basis. So he's your long-term prospect, no doubt. But whether immediately, do you want to elevate him straight away? I don't really think that there is a reason to do that, because you have a KL Rahul. He has captained for India in the past when Virat gave up captaincy in South Africa. I think he captained for 1 or 2 test matches. And he's a guaranteed starter at the top of the order. So that is the reason I believe that, yes, you can think long term after the next WTC cycle. By that time, I think Shubman Gill would have established his credentials in a much more solid way, and he would have plenty of experience behind him as well.
Just going back to Bumrah, as far as this whole conversation goes, he did step in for Rohit in Australia, and it has been well known that he harbours ambitions of leading the Indian side. If India were to take this decision, and if Bumrah is not the next man in charge, could it be a delicate situation for the management to handle?
I think cricketers today are quite professional. They understand that various formats, there are various captains, at times there are various managements as well, and they're pretty okay. I mean, you clearly saw the camaraderie which was between the erstwhile T20 captain in Hardik Pandya and the current T20 captain Surya Kumar Yadav. So I don't really think that those factors mean a lot. Because test cricket, how many test matches you play in a season is also a question mark. So if you're thinking that, okay, you're going to play 8 or 9 test matches or a max of 10 test matches in a season, it doesn't really matter that much. So I don't think that particular aspect is a challenge. But one thing that would also one can argue in favor of Jasprit Bumrah is that injury can happen to anybody. So, clear thing of that alternative line of thinking for in absence of Jasprit Bumrah, who that could very well be a possibility wherein if a KL Rahul is named a captain, which is my choice, but if Shubman Gill is named the captain, he can easily split a finger while batting or while catching, and then he might not be available. So, in that case, I don't really worry too much about what would be Jasprit Bumrah's workload. If he is not fit, so be it. But if he is the best man for the job, go to him first and then name a deputy who can take over from him, who has got enough experience and who's got enough respect from the dressing room as well.
All right. Captaincy is, of course, one part of the conversation. Among the choices the Indian selectors have to make is filling sizable voids in that batting lineup. Virat, Kohli, Rohit, Sharma no longer there. Who would your top four be going into England?
My top four would be KL Rahul with Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill at 3, and at 4 I would be tempted to go with Karun Nair, because he could be the guy who is experienced enough of playing in English conditions and who's got exposure to Test cricket as well, and if he does well, he has time on his hand to play another 3 or 4 seasons, because he's extremely fit guy at 33, proven experience of doing well for Northamptonshire as well, if that is the county that he's played for. So my top 4 would include those 4 players.
With the number 4 spot being vacated after a while, with Kohli going, could there be any sense of Shubman Gill perhaps stepping down and becoming the next number 4?
I'm not really a big fan of that thought process, because he started to open, and from opening you slide down to number 3, whether that is his own personal choice or was there a concerted decision by the previous management under Rahul Dravid to make that shift for various reasons. But I don't think that that trend should continue of him dropping down one order from opening to number 3 and from 3 to 4. He's a top quality, top order batsman. So leave him there. I think the more he plays, the better he'll get.
Among the other names who are in consideration, who have been making their case, perhaps the one that comes first is Abhimanyu Ishwaran, who's made a lot of squads but is yet to get a game. And there's also a lot of word around Sai Sudarshan, who's continuing to impress everyone as a potential multi-format cricketer.
I would think that Abhimanyu Ishwaran deserves the first go, and see, a lot of discussions happened about giving importance to domestic cricket, how domestic cricket and the performers needed to be rewarded as well. And here is a guy who scored in excess of 20 first-class centuries, who's been named the designated replacement opener. Then suddenly, if you just leave him aside, then that doesn't really send a signal as far as the consistency factor is concerned. So, Sai Sudarshan is a quality player. Whether he can be taken in the squad, but I believe that right at the start of the season, Abhimanyu Ishwaran seems to be my choice to be that replacement or the reserve opening batsman that is needed in the England series.
All right, so these are the batters who do not have any Test cricket or much Test cricket behind them. When you consider the challenge of England, early season England at that, and given just the amount of transition in this side, is there any temptation to look back at the likes of Cheteshwar Pujara or Ajinkya Rahane?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I think the entire thought process, and look, as much as I would love to have Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane, at least one of them back to lend the side an experience, whether the selectors would go that way, I have my doubts about it. We all know that Rohit in a way would have ideally wanted to play at least one more series, but whatever we hear, and we are far away from the decision making processes and the meetings that would have happened by this time, but if they've not gone in that direction, then obviously going back to Pujara or Ajinkya might not be the way the selection meeting or the selection committee is thinking. So, I mean, I have my own doubts whether they would take that route.
All right. And you've named your first choice 4, which has Karun Nair at number 4. This is obviously a long series. You will go in with a bunch of backup batters who may have important roles to play. Of all the names around, and there are quite a few who will also get to audition via the India A tests in England, who are you looking at?
As a batter, see, like if you ask me, the combination would mean that Nitish Reddy would be a front runner to take one of those batting spots as well, because he's impressed as a batter in Australia series, and he was batting quite low down. He started at number 8, and then he moved to number 6, I think, in a couple of test matches. So he would be my front runner to be batting higher up the order. So he is one name.
That would be number 6.
That would be number 6, yes. So that would be number 6 or number 7, because they might not want to play with 2 all-rounders in the first 2 test matches, because that is a mistake, probably a mistake on reflection, wherein too much depth in batting but not too much teeth in the bowling. So I think only one all-rounder can play between Nitish Reddy and Ravindra Jadeja. So in my playing 11, Ravindra Jadeja plays when the wickets are slightly conducive to spin and when India needs to play with 2 frontline spinners. So that's the spot which will go to Jadeja then. But I think there's a good case for somebody like a Dhruv Jurel also to bat at 6 or 7, because he's shown that he's got the right temperament and the right technique as well. So because of that, I don't really think that any of the new batters would break away straight into the playing 11.
Okay.
So Nitish Reddy and Dhruv Jurel are the guys who would have that batting spot at number 6 or number 7.
All right, let's try and build this 11 and construct that squad with you. For the benefit of our viewers, Leeds is where the series begins. The second test is in Birmingham. After that, Lords, Manchester, and finally the Oval. So first test, playing 11 for you.
First test, playing 11, I'll start with Yashasvi Jaiswal, KL Rahul, Shubman at 3, Karun at 4, Pant at 5, Nitish Reddy at 6, Dhruv Jurel at 7, and then 4 bowlers in Kuldeep being the front line spinner, and 3 fast bowlers in Siraj, Bumrah and Mohammad Shami. So that is my playing 11 for the first 2 test matches. Then after that, you could change a little bit. If you require that spin all-rounder, then you can get in Jadeja. So for the moment, I think Jadeja at number 12 would be a good 12 for India to have in the first 2 test matches.
Okay, and now let's say it's a squad of 17. So you've got 5 backup options. You obviously have to consider more pacers for a long test series. Which way are you going? Who are the players you're considering?
Reserve opening batter is Abhimanyu Iswaran. Reserve fast bowler Akashdeep, because I believe that he's bowled quite well in Australia, didn't get the rewards which he deserved. So he would be taking the second spot. Middle order spot, see, that's a tight one, and I think no matter what, because Sarfaraz has done really well. He's got a good record in domestic cricket. Unless a player fails without being given a chance, you can't really go with a perceived notion that he can't play in certain conditions. If that is the yardstick, then I think there will be players who may not necessarily play all the test matches. So one reserve middle order spot should go to Sarfaraz, because he can be the rightful holder of that particular spot. And as far as fast bowling is concerned, it's a tight one. Maybe a Prasidh Krishna, because he would be required when, say for instance, the Jasprit Bumrah or a Mohammad Shami are not available, or in test matches like Manchester or Oval, wherein there's good bounce, then Prasidh Krishna could be that reserve fast bowler. So I would restrict myself to 16 and that 17 spot. If they do go that way, then I think I'll leave that choice to the selectors.
But if you were picking that 17th, in this squad right now, you have 5 seamers. You've got your backups for an opener, a middle order. You already have the backup keeper in your 11 in Jurel. So if that last spot, are you looking at another seam option, potentially a left-arm seamer, or would you have another spinner in the mix?
I don't think there's a need for another spinner because with Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav, there are already enough spinners there. And even in the India A's squad, they haven't named Washington Sundar, who could have been probably one of the candidates. So him not going there may be a signal that, okay, they are not thinking in that direction. So, I mean, does it really matter? It can be Sai Sudarshan, or it could be somebody like a Khalil, who brings you that left arms variety. So, could be one of those two. But overall, I think this particular squad seems to me at least to be a right squad to pick for the England series.
Let's see what the selectors think of it. You'd imagine that meeting goes on much longer than this meeting of ours.
No, I think they'll really have to break it down a lot. And I mean, this is just a conversation on the couch. So we are pretty relaxed about it.
All right. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for your time. Always a pleasure.